friends, humans, Disney fans, lend me your ears. Today I'm gonna tell you all of my thoughts on Toy Story 4. Let's chat. Hey everybody, Melanie here from Lend Me Your Ears, and I have to start off with an ear shout out. These ears belong to Jacqueline, and she purchased them off of Etsy. They have these adorable Dole Whips embroidered onto the ears. Who doesn't love a good Dole Whip? Am I right? So much pineapple-y goodness. So Jacqueline, thanks for lending me your ears. Toy Story 4. It finally came out in theaters this weekend, and there was so much buzz.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
So much buzz surrounding this movie. Now, initially, when they first released that they were making it, I feel like the general consensus among the masses was, why? We don't need a Toy Story 4. This is completely unnecessary. Toy Story 3 wrapped things up quite nicely. Is this just a giant money grab by Disney and Pixar? But then, as previews started to roll around, I think people genuinely got excited about this latest installment in the franchise of Toy Story. And there were so many cast members like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen who were saying, oh, I couldn't even make it through the last scenes, I was bawling, which really added to the intrigue of, oh my goodness, how are they ending this movie? So, I went to see it, and I am here now to give you my thoughts. First, I'm just gonna give you my general overview, and then we're going to delve into a few spoilers. Overall, I would say that you are absolutely going to enjoy this movie. It is not without its faults, but I have a tendency to get a little bit nitpicky about things. But overall, the entertainment value was high, it was warm, it was funny, it was nostalgic, and I really enjoyed it, and the animations were absolutely stunning and brilliant. Obviously, at this point, we have 4 Toy Story movies to work with, given the title. Toy Story 4. And I would have to say that I don't even think Toy Story 4 would make it into my top 2 if I'm ranking all of the Toy Story films. Definitely for me, my favorite is Toy Story 2, followed by the very first Toy Story. And then for me, it's really a toss-up between 3 and 4. I can't tell which one I would really ultimately like better. But you can take that with a grain of salt because all of the Toy Story movies are phenomenal. It had a lot to live up to with all of the preceding films. And honestly, I should share with you guys that I did not do my due diligence and watch the other 3 movies again before seeing the 4th one. I have, of course, seen all of the other Toy Story movies multiple times, but I haven't seen them recently, and I kind of think I should have before I went to go see Toy Story 4, so my apologies. And I'd be super interested to hear how you would rank all 4 Toy Story movies, so please leave that in the comments below. And I think if I were to rank it between 1 and 10, I think I'd give this movie, Toy Story 4, a solid 8. Super high entertainment value, but just a few too many problems for me to give it a higher ranking of a 9 or a 10. So ultimately, take your family, go to the theater, see this movie, you will enjoy it. Okay guys, now we're gonna be diving into some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, pause me right now, take 3 hours, give or take with previews and driving time, and then come back. I'll wait.
3 hours later.
Hey, you're back! It's good to see you again. By now you have seen Toy Story 4, and so let's go ahead and dive into some spoiler talk. First of all, I did mention earlier in this video how much I really enjoyed the animation in this film, and I would say particularly the sequence that I enjoyed the most was early on in the film when they were taking a look with Woody's history, with Andy, all those fun parts where he's spinning them around, and I just thought, I'm not an expert on animation, but I just thought that entire sequence was especially aesthetically pleasing to me. And I think Toy Story in particular is really fun to go back and see. You can kind of watch them sequentially and see how the animators were learning new things, putting in new details, and you can kind of see throughout the course of the films just how much they've grown in their talents. So now let's talk some character development, or lack thereof. This was definitely one point in the movie that was a little bit lacking for me. I felt like some of the characters that we have grown to know and love, we didn't see a whole lot of them. And then I felt like there were brand new characters that to me seemed pretty pointless. Most notably, when I'm talking about pointless characters, even though they were fun, I would say that Giggle McDimples and Bunny and Ducky were kind of not necessary to the plot line. I mean, I guess Giggle McDimples said some things to Bo, questioning her thoughts about Woody, but outside of that, I felt like she was completely unnecessary. Now, as much as I loved and thoroughly enjoyed Bunny and Ducky, I also felt like they didn't necessarily add any value to the plot. I didn't really necessarily think that they needed to be there to advance the storyline. But if for no other reason than comic relief, they were absolutely valuable to me. All of their parts were hysterical. I love Key and Peele. They were just a really fun addition to the cast. But as far as their characters went, didn't really find them necessary. Especially because I find it odd to even say that they needed comic relief in this movie that should already be funny. It's a funny movie. I felt like they were just there to be funny. But hey, maybe that's okay. They did their job. I enjoyed it. Also, fun side note, my husband has actually met and spoken with Keegan Michael Key, and maybe I'll give you that story at the end of this video. Stick around. Now, there were also new characters that I thoroughly enjoyed and felt like they definitely helped advance the plotline and the story. Those three characters would be Gabby Gabby, Forky, and Duke Kaboom! Duke Kaboom was funny, he was useful. I loved the line about how he was posing because ultimately he kind of was a poser, wasn't he? Kind of pretending to be a daredevil when he really wasn't. And then there was Gabby Gabby, who of course kind of acted as a foil to the heroes for the better part of the movie before her character kind of turns around and goes in a different direction. And Forky was adorable. I loved him. I might be a little bit biased because I love Tony Hale, but his voice was absolutely perfect for this character, and I fell in love with him pretty much immediately. However, Forky's character did raise an interesting question to me. What exactly makes a toy a toy? At first I thought, well, a toy is a toy if a child loves it. But we've definitely seen other toys in the Toy Story universe that are unloved by children and they're still alive. They are still talking and communicating with the other toys, so I don't think that's it. So then I thought, well, maybe anything is a toy that a child plays with. By definition, child plays with it, it is a toy. However, I am pretty certain that in some of the other movies, we saw Andy play with a lot of different things that weren't toys. He had this wild, crazy, huge imagination. At one point, I think he's playing with cardboard boxes. He's drawn on them, they're the scenery. Did the cardboard boxes come to life? So this is ultimately very unclear, but again, I feel like I'm being a little bit nitpicky. I was able to look past this and still enjoy the movie without understanding completely the rules of what makes a toy come to life. Now let's talk about a couple of the big themes running throughout this movie, the first of which being an importance given to someone's voice. We see, of course, that a voice is extremely important to Gabby Gabby. It's all that she's looking for. She needs a new voice box in order to be loved. Then we hear Woody say that he's listening to his inner voice, his conscious, and Buzz begins listening to the voice and the buttons that he uses on his own armor, space armor. I definitely felt like this movie was trying to send me some sort of message about the importance of someone's voice, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what that message was. Gabby Gabby certainly seemed to think it was very important for her to have a working voice box in order to bring harmony into her life. Both literally and figuratively. But ultimately, it didn't work for her. Harmony picked her up, took one look at her, listened to her voice, and discarded her. So I didn't quite understand what the message was about the voices. I also thought it was interesting that twice in this movie, toys used their own voices outside of, buttons and pull strings to communicate with the humans in the film. Buzz does it when he's being put into the cabinet, and then Trixie the dinosaur does it when she's pretending to be a GPS. So I'm not sure if the whole toys using their own voices to speak to the people is another part of this message, or if I should be annoyed that they're breaking the rules already established through the rest of the movies just to advance the storyline. Blah! So what do you think? Somebody who would analyze films better than I could maybe tell me exactly if all these voice themings have anything to do with the message that they're trying to say. Help me out. Put your thoughts in the comments. And I think the other main theme in the movie really pertains specifically to Woody, and that is that there comes a time in every toy or man's life in which you have to let go of your past and move on to newer adventures. All throughout the movie, Woody seems to be a little bit stuck. He always will accidentally refer to Bonnie as Andy. He's referring to circumstances in Bonnie's life by pointing back, well, this is what I did with Andy. This is what I did with Andy. And it seems like he is a little stuck and he needs to move on. Now, this might seem a little bit odd to stop talking about theming right here and mention a couple Easter eggs, but it'll all make sense very soon. I saw 2 Easter eggs in particular that were very interesting to me. First was when Bo Peep was having her sheep collect items when they were next to that skunkmobile. The skunkmobile had a by and large battery, by the way. And the sheep brought her what? None other than a grape soda bottle cap, the exact same grape soda bottle cap that is so very important to Carl in Up and all the memories associated with that bottle cap and his relationship with Ellie. Then, as we're in the antique shop, which I'm sure there were like a million Easter eggs in all of the details of the antique shop. I think people will be finding them for months. As we're in the antique shop, I noticed a print of that classic dogs playing poker picture, and Doug, the dog from Up, was one of the dogs playing poker in the picture. So why did I happen to notice these 2 Up Easter eggs? And maybe there were more. Why were they giving this correlation between Toy Story 4 and Up? And here's where I'm bringing it full circle back to the theming. I think ultimately in both of these films, Toy Story 4 and Up, the overarching theme is the same, that you need to let go of your past to have new adventures. Carl in Up does this when he leaves his home at Paradise Falls to begin new adventures with his buddy Russell, and Woody of course does this when he says goodbye to all of his toy friends and to Bonnie and begins new adventures with Bo Peep and the crew. And I did not cry during this movie, however, the one part that did make my tear duct swell a little bit was when Woody said goodbye to Buzz Lightyear. It really felt like the end of something very special, the end of an era, and the finality of it was a very sad thing to see. So there you have it, folks, all my thoughts on Toy Story 4, and please let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments section below. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to share with you quickly the story of my husband meeting Keegan Michael Key, and this also comes with a life lesson if you ever meet any celebrity. Try to make a long story short. Basically, my husband spotted Keegan Michael Key on the very same flight that he was on. This flight happened to have Wi-Fi, so he's texting me, oh my goodness, Keegan Michael Key is on my flight. Which I respond, no way, yeah right, no he's not. I told him I said pictures or it never happened. So I'm giving him a hard time about taking Keegan Michael Key's picture. My husband is like, no, I'm not gonna be a creep and take a picture of him. So the plane lands, he tells me he's gotten home safely, and then later, to my dismay, I get a text of my husband with Keegan Michael Key. And here's the celebrity meeting tip. If you ever meet a celebrity, don't just go up to him and be like, hey, you're that guy from that thing. Yeah, you're famous, aren't you? They don't appreciate that. No, my husband, in his wisdom, decided to go back in his mind and think of an obscure reference from Keegan Michael Key's sketch show, Key and Peele. He went up to him and he said, hey, aren't you Hingle the Kringleberry? Keegan Michael Key laughed. He appreciated the reference. He's like, man, thanks for watching. My husband said, would you mind if I got a picture with you? He was like, absolutely. So there's the story of how my husband met Keegan Michael Key. And guys, just for fun, I'm gonna go ahead and post that picture onto my Instagram account and my Facebook. Please be sure to go check it out. Give me a like and a follow. This is Melanie from Lend Me Your Ears saying we'll chat again soon at the movies.